Cusco, happy February. It is, no lie, the 1st of February 2023. So anyway, it looks like the lines for combustible, that's gas for your car, are back, which means there's some gas back in stock. Still hard to get a tank of cooking gas. Again, we also use that for the hot water heater, and I'm rationing it for the hot water heater, and my niece doesn't want to use the little electric burner I got for cooking because she doesn't want to drive up the electric bill, and so I'm going out for breakfast again. So anyway, I'll let you know how it goes on the walk there. Well, the lines for gas are even longer right now. It's not as much of a diesel supply problem still, so public transit buses are still running. Taxis, on the other hand, I don't know. Anyway, you've got people pushing their vehicles because people have said they like the walking around the street videos. So here's a view from Lima's Pampa Grande. I'm going to walk further up this way. Generally in the mornings, it's pretty chill out and about. But we are starting to see more and more restaurants being closed because they can't get gas for cooking. Possibly more people walking too. The big chain hotels are open and working, but a lot of the smaller independent ones don't have the latitude to stay open. Like I say, public transit buses are running like normal. I would say the cars that we're seeing are more the small ones. Very economical on fuel. And I think a number of folks who are normally out to sell to tourists, they're just not out right now because there really aren't very many. But like I say, the buses are running, so here we go. Not heavy traffic right now. There are police out, like I say, just regular transit police. Regular traffic. Banks are open. There are more windows boarded up than usual. And some evidence of further boarding up being planned. And there are some tourists. The U.S. Consular Agency does not appear intimidated. It's over there on the second floor. This credit union is boarding up and closing up. Looks like it might rain today. Armored cars are out refilling ATMs, and attending at the banks. Banks, like I say, open at the moment. And the same for the on the street currency exchange types. Anyway, I'm dubbing this badly so as to avoid any copyright claims, but I'm trying to spread it around in terms of the breakfast stuff and trying a place I have not tried before. So anyway, lovely view. Usually these places are pretty full in the morning, but not right now. So I'm able to get in and have the English cappuccino breakfast, which here it comes. But then on the walk home, I also had to have another fresh squeezed orange juice on the street because, yeah. Have you ever wanted to get in line for gas and push your completely dry vehicle into a gas station where they're rationing the gas they sell at the same time as you can buy an ice cream cone and then watch your favorite protesters go by? Well, you can in Cusco. Okay, well, today we have the gas lines and, people have been out selling stuff in them. So there's the ice cream cone vendor, and she's walking along selling ice cream to people in the cars waiting in the gas line. But then behind that, here comes a small march. So anyway, you can push your car to the gas station and hope to get gas while buying an ice cream cone and expressing your opinions about the state of politics. And that is Cusco for you. Well, hey, it is now coming up on the 3 o'clock hour, 3 p.m. here in Cusco on the 1st of February, 2023. And I'm just going to try and give a quick rundown of what the national news is saying right now. Number one, Congress is in session and it is debating whether or not to move up elections. And that's stressful to watch, so I'm not watching it. I'll find out what the results are of this discussion later. Today has been another day of protests, but not a day that has been actively taking to the streets as much, and so there's been a lot of traffic that has been getting through, or some traffic that has been getting through, so that means what we are hearing is that there have been some roadblocks that have been cleared with police aid and so on. There's video from out in more remote areas where police are, pushing big rocks off the roads and stuff like that. But I kind of think we're probably going to see those big rocks back on the roads by tomorrow, because tomorrow is supposed to be another really big protest day. They are already closing up some areas on the ways in and out of Cusco. So that doesn't look good for a lot of travel and going places. There are ways to go places sort of late at night or super early in the morning, but it does mean that it's harder to get around or get in and out of Cusco. Fortunately, there's plenty to do in Cusco, including going to all the appointments that keep having to be rescheduled because of the situation. I think tempers are wearing thin all over the place, and so I would encourage anybody who knows people in Peru to extend them a little bit of kindness if they're a little bit stressed out and scattered, because pretty much everybody in Peru is affected by this at this point. So what do I mean by affected by this? Well, so there's no fuel, no automotive fuel, or not much automotive fuel. So we are on the 4th or 5th day, I don't know, I've lost count, of many, many cars lining up on the street out in front of our apartment, and they're honking their horns nonstop, and that gets old. And then there's the protest air horns, and the chants, and that gets old. And then, there is still some construction going on right here, which is, a positive sign on the one hand, but boy, does the noise get old. Anyway, so all of that is happening and everyone is stressed out. So you see people yelling at each other out in the streets about how, well, you can't get through. Well, there isn't any gas. Well, they're rationing it. Well, all of that. So people who work in transportation, well, you can potentially hear the horns honking outside right now. Anyway, people who work in transportation, things are wearing thin for them. Other gas that isn't here is propane gas, which usually is sold in 10-kilo tanks, like the same ones that people in the U.S. Tend to use for their propane grills or what have you. And that is what runs everybody's hot water heaters, and many people use it for cooking. So a lot of restaurants are closed because they can't get gas to run their stoves. And then also, clientele are in short supply for many restaurants also. So some restaurants are giving some big discounts to people who live in Cusco, trying to stimulate people to go out and eat, which has its appeal if you don't want to be spending your money on marked up and exploitative tanks of propane, which you're not supposed to do. There is a hotline number for people to call to report anyone who is exploitative in their propane pricing. So that's going on, but that means that hot water is going to run out. All kinds of stuff is going to run out. So that's getting concerning as well. In addition, things that haven't made it into a number of remote regions include supplies to make water potable. So that's probably like a lot of chlorine and other kinds of stuff. And so it is estimated that within a week, about 2 million people around the south of Peru will not have potable water in the government water supplies. So, go back to boiling your water like in olden times and all of that sort of thing. The word is from sort of the informal social media networks and whatnot, and the informal circles that are talking about this kind of stuff, that trucks with food and supplies and gasoline and petroleo or diesel and gas for cooking are coming through. The word is that is a thing that is happening now, that they are being allowed through, but regular travelers are not. So unknown what that means, but things have not filtered through to their endpoints at this point. We in our household here are down to our final 10-kilo tank of propane, and I have said it is only allowed to be used for the hot water heater, and we have to cook anything we're going to cook with the electric hot plate. And we'll see, if I win that argument or not. I better win that argument. Really had better. Anyway, so that's happening. Hopefully it'll be possible to go get some gas at some point here soon. I mean, propane for cooking. But the word is that people have been lining up and even spending the night in line for a tank of propane. All of that. So that's very stressful. Yesterday in protests in Lima, which ramped up a whole lot, police arrested 2 people who were allegedly paying protesters to protest. So that is apparently a thing that is now believed to have been happening fairly for sure in Lima, at least. Some people believe that has been the case all along, that the only people protesting have always been paid protesters, and that sort of thing. So who knows on all of that. What I'm seeing is go by my apartment here is not paid protesters. It's people coming up from the country who have the complaints that they have, which we've talked about a whole lot. So anyway, there's all of that. Like I say, Congress is debating. I can hear it in the next room where everyone is still watching it on TV live, unfolding now. And it is getting very yelly. So there are a lot of opinions. There are a number of people who say, well, we can't possibly move elections up or change the election date because that's not what's in the Constitution. And then there are people who are saying, screw the Constitution. That Constitution came from a dictator. And then other people say, well, you've been perfectly fine with it for 30 years. And then other people say, how do you know I have not been perfectly fine with it for 30 years. And then, I mean, this is really, it's really very heated. The question really is, how long can regular Peru and regular Peruvians hold out? There are people who think lots of different things in the same general area, right? Like people who are good friends, family members, disagree on what's the right thing to do. Some people say, we just gotta give up. We just gotta give up and deal with the fact that this is the president we have until 2026. And then some other people say, well, no, hold on. We do not. They're going to move elections up and they just need to vote to do it in April 2024. So be it. And then other people are like, that is not soon enough. And why can we not just move things up to October? And why, this is clearly what 76% of the Peruvian population wants. So Congress should be doing that. And Congress isn't doing that. So why can't Congress just do that? And, Congress is like, well, but the principle of the thing and the letter of the law and the this and the that. And then everybody says, well, Congress has their financial interests in terms of, how they vote and all of that kind of stuff. And it just goes on. And people say, well, let's stop protesting. We got to stop protesting because everyone's got to get back to work. There's got to be a way to let potable water get through, potable water making supplies get through. We're running out of, cooking gas and gas for hot water heaters. We're running out of, things of first necessity, and everybody just needs to get back to work. And then other people are saying, well, if we cave now, then that's it. Then it's over. Then there's no future. And we're going to end up like every other one of these countries that got taken over by neoliberalism and turned into a place where people work all their lives and are in debt all their lives and never own anything and can't and have no say, and nobody knows how to protest. And then, the authoritarians run wild and run roughshod. And then people say, oh, come on, you're being an extremist about all of that, and that'll never happen. And it's a good thing if there's just more private investment and all of that kind of stuff. And then people say, well, what's private investment done for me? And then someone says, well, it's built roads to go to mines and so on and so forth. And someone says, so we supply 10% of the world's copper and nobody even knows, and we don't get anything from it if we're impoverished farmers out in the country. And then people say, well, impoverished farmers out in the country don't understand economics. And then people say, well, I understand the economics of whether or not I've got potable water and food and things like that. And things get very, very heated, and this just goes on and on. So how long can this hold out? Well, Congress can hold out dicking around, debating all of their, academic articles for forever, right? Regular people, it's a different story. And so what's the breaking point? Hard to say. We don't know. Anyway, the word is that protests are going to ramp up and be even stronger tomorrow. So I guess we'll just see. And I'm going to go now because I hear another protest coming down the street, and I'm just going to put in my earplugs because I've heard as much as I need to today. Yep, that's where it's at. We're all pretty tired. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Oh no, one more thing. I almost forgot. A memo went out on social media about trash pickup in the city of Cusco, in the municipality of Cusco. And it went out last night, and it said, due to shortages of gasoline, trash pickup will not happen in the district of Cusco. So please don't take your trash out to the curb. Hang on and wait for us to be able to get more gasoline. And people were outraged about that, and then unsure about where exactly that meant, and a lot of that kind of stuff. And then a couple hours ago, the mayor's office issued another statement and said, we will be picking up trash. This has been a misunderstanding. This does not mean no trash pickup at all. It just means, be conscientious and try not to generate, more and more. But we're picking up trash. We guarantee your trash will be picked up. So anyway, stand down on the panic about trash pickup. They are still going to pick up trash. the best we can do is try and keep our sense of humor about all this, and forward, onward, keep going. So this is a large group. So the lines for gas are starting to get tense. People are starting to have some arguments. There being people who cut in line. There's some debate about whether they're going to run out soon. And police are coming over to try and calm people down a little bit as they're arguing about it. And we're seeing actual altercations begin at this point. So, like I say, police have showed up to start mediating the whole thing. And so you see drivers getting out of their cars and yelling at other drivers. Like, so this guy here in the gray sweatshirt is super mad about the guy who came up the other way. And ostensibly that's so that the beer truck could get through. I just want to say all the beer trucks that are coming through are Cristal, which nobody likes. So I think it's interesting that that's still getting delivered everywhere, but I'm not seeing the Cusqueña trucks. So, I mean, that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, so there's a driver arguing with the police officer, and now he's going back to his car, and this is the situation here. So now this driver is like, look, that guy's going to cut in line, and now what? And the police officer's like, no, he's not going to cut in line. He just wants to go down the other road, and we'll just have to see if there's room for him to sneak through there, and how this is going to go. And anyway, yeah, so it's starting to get tense out there in the gas lines. And okay, so now what they're debating in Congress is, what if they move elections for both president and Congress up to December of 2023, and then both the president and Congress leave office in April of 2024, but their term is only to 2026, so then everybody can be re-elected in 2026. So this is a large group of protesters who have come in from the rural district of Lares, some distance away, at least 3 hours drive.
Presentándose del plazo dispuesto en el artículo 90. Los congresistas de la República electos en las elecciones generales complementarias de 2023 asumirán sus funciones el 30 de abril de 2024.
Bueno, eso me parece más rojo que verde.
El 26 de julio de 2026. Y en estos momentos continúa la votación por parte de los legisladores de la representación nacional, quienes han expresado sus posiciones durante estas horas de debate.
Dictamen en minoría suscrito por el congresista Quito Sarmiento. Tiene la palabra el congresista Quito Sarmiento, autor del dictamen en minoría, hasta por 10 minutos.
So that was the point when we decided we had to go run the rest of the errands and then go have pollo a la brasa again. And while we were having pollo a la brasa, the news was on, because, you know, everybody is glued to the news right now. So the news was on, and this little snippet came on, this choice snippet where the Prime Minister came out and, you know, was speaking to the press, and he had something really important to say. Confirmó que habrá fútbol este fin de semana. In other words, the Prime Minister has confirmed there will be football, which people in the USA call soccer, this weekend. Anyway, so, I mean, I guess that's the rundown for today, right? We're all going to continue to watch news, or else we're going to watch game shows and soap operas. And, I mean, I don't know, game shows and soap operas might as well be Congress at this point. Tomorrow is supposed to be big strike day. Like I say, the consular agency is now going to be closed. Lots of stuff is going to be closed. Everybody says they're, you know, adhering to the strike. Supposedly the dentist is at 11 a.m., so I guess we will see. And I've been ordered to pick up some booze and order like 100 tamales for Friday, because there's something to do on Friday, so stay tuned.